Alright legends, welcome back, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Jo and I do all things DIY without a guy, most of the time. Sometimes I do borrow one. In today's video, I actually borrowed two. Yeah, there was two blokes, about 3 different hair colours and 6 Sundays that went into the making of this video. But yeah, basically, I built this big rig. Check it out. And here it all is. So I got it all out, I lugged it all onto my back patio, got everything out. That's the roller door there in that big box, and I looked at my slab in terror. What I actually did do was, Ranbuild send you a guide. I called it my Bible. And there's 2 bits to the guide. That bit there on the left is like the generic guide, which tells you all your parts, what they're all called, what they all look like. And then the one on the right there, that's the specific to your build and your measurements guide. So I split it up into 2 folders. Because I really didn't understand what the hell I was doing, I drew all over it. I put coloured markers all over it. I even made little bookmarks so it was easy to refer to, and I kept these on hand all the time. And enter Raymore, my absolute hero and one of my absolute best friends in the world, who gave up every single one of his Sundays 6 weeks running, and he only had Sundays off to help me get this big rig built. On your Raymore, we love ya. I have to say, this is Raymore teaching me just how to use Kemsa anchors and stuff like that. There's a lot of me stood vaping while watching him do it and then having a crack at it myself. And obviously my 2 site supervisors, Sammy and Toby, were all up in our business all the time. They would have helped if they could. Now, these Kemsa anchors, it comes with everything that you get for the shed build. You get all the fixtures, all the fittings and everything. So, I'd never used these before, but you just drop a little cartridge in the hole, smash that in there, it breaks up and does its thing. Bizzo. So basically the first 4 corners are in, measured, square, beautiful. I'm going to do a bit of the frame building, and then later on Raymore's going to come over again and we're going to do the remaining footing bolts. So again, there's just a lot of measuring, make sure everything's square. Alright, so when we started to get the frame up, I kind of like loosely hand tightened it all together, then we rammed the ends over the bolts that were already in the pad, and then shoved it up as seen, and then just kind of staked it into the ground using star pickets with those little struts that we just tacked on temporarily. Typically, the day we did this was the windiest day of the week, and it was blowing all over, and it was also quite terrifying, but we got there. Now, I should like to point out that when I started this, that I'm stood on was my ladder. And it was the only ladder I had, and I had no idea that it was nowhere near big enough. So, yeah, I got that one. Then I borrowed a bigger one. Also, that strut on the hat section, or the roof bit, was only temporary, just to kind of hold it together and keep it solid whilst we were working from the walls up, as it were, which is apparently what you have to do. There was a lot of temporary sections went on that just to hold it in place while we fiddled with it. Right, we're on to weekend 2. Frames up, got a few extra bits, been looking at my little guide again. So going through the Bible, it's really thorough. It tells you every step of the way. It tells you which brackets to use, how many Tek screws to use, and everything is provided. So reading the manual, it's a bit heavy. It's not easy. It's not like putting together an IKEA piece of furniture, but it's achievable. I'll give it that. It's good because I've got my pad footing details and it tells you all the brackets and everything. So BCMR on there. And I've even written on there how many Tek screws I need, just because I am that person that would get that wrong. Got my little workbench, which is my roller door. Got all my tools on there, got my speaker on there, gonna crack some tunes on, and yeah, get into it. So because everything was pre-cut to size, I had like 1,000,001 pieces to lay out and figure out what length was what and what went where. And once I'd done that, it was pretty straightforward. It was like just bang it on where it's supposed to go and Tek screw it onto the frame. This bit was great and we flew through it. Alright, so I had my ladder, I borrowed a bigger ladder, and then it became vastly apparent that I needed something a bit better. So this is me teaching myself how to drive a scissor lift. This was quite hilarious. It's probably a good job that there is no sound with this one, but it was a journey of self-discovery, particularly when I thought I was stuck up there and I didn't have my phone and Raymore wasn't due to come over for like another hour and a half. What I did before Raymore got there, when I eventually worked out how to get down off the scissor lift, was I went round and measured everything, because I thought, ooh, if I measure it all, it'll all be ready for when he gets here. And then when he got there, he went, I've just double checked it, and what the fuck were you measuring with? Yeah, so I had to do it all again. But it was a learning curve, you know what I'm saying? So here he's introducing bloke number 2, Aaron, the roof guy. So basically, once I got the hat section on with Raymore, I realised that I wasn't particularly comfortable climbing around on all that. So my buddy Aaron actually is a roof plumber by trade, and I roped him in to get the hat section or the roof section on. But he got there really early, so helped us get the walls on first. Now, I don't know how many Tek screws this shed took, but it was a lot. And I had guns forever at the end of this build. In fact, it was so good that I did a park run, and you know where they take photos of you at park run? One of my friends tagged me and commented on it and was like, look at your guns! I'll try and find the picture and drop it in. I was so impressed with myself. So whilst the guys were up on the roof getting that bit sorted out, I was down at the bottom weathering my roof sheets. I tried to film it just to prove that I was actually doing something on the floor while the guys were up there. It was actually a really good system because I was smashing this out, handing them to him, or he was smashing them up to Aaron, and we got them on super quick. That's Raymore looking in the end for the instructions that we realised we didn't have. So that's me getting on the laptop to try and Google and download an instruction booklet, which we managed to get. We did have instructions for where the brackets should sit on the shed, but the roller door, being a separate entity all on its own, had its own instructions, and we actually still managed to cock it up. Now, this is the point where we should have done some tightening of it before we actually dropped it, and the world would have been a happy place. But the boys decided that we were on to a winner and it was all going nicely. And then after this, I don't have footage, but we spent about 2 hours manually hand tightening it, which was an asshole. So, hot tip, just listen to the instructions about tightening it before you open it all up, because this was just heinous. We sorted it out in the end, but it was a long, painful process. So bright. Pretty proud of this one. So that's it for today, legends. As always, thanks very much for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.